Moscow sends a blunt message to Europe and NATO. Russia will not attack first, but it will respond with full force if provoked. In a high-stakes interview aired Sunday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov declared that Moscow has no intention of launching an assault on the European Union or NATO member states. Lavrov firmly rejected any intention of attacking Europe, stressing there exists no reason for such action, whilst countering Kremlin accusations of Western warmongering provocation. But the reassurance came with a sharp warning. Lavrov made it clear that if Europe follows through on threats to prepare for war against Russia and initiates an attack, Moscow would respond with what he described as a full-fledged military response, using all available capabilities. It was a statement designed to deter, but also to underline the scale of potential retaliation. Last month, Lavrov has made it clear that Russia is ready for dialogue with Europe, but doubts its possibility.
If someone wants to talk, we will never refuse. Even though, I will make this caveat, we understand perfectly well that most likely we won't be able to agree with the current European leaders on anything, as they drove themselves too deeply into hating Russia.
The remarks come as Western governments ramp up defense spending and reinforce NATO's eastern flank. Germany's top military commander, General Carsten Breuer, said late last year that Berlin must be ready for a possible war with Russia by 2029. Across Europe, policymakers argue that preparation is necessary in the face of growing uncertainty. Moscow sees it differently. Russian officials accuse Western leaders of fueling hysteria and escalating tensions unnecessarily. President Vladimir Putin dismissed suggestions that Russia plans to attack NATO as nonsense during his year-end press conference, insisting that such claims are politically motivated. Yet beneath the rhetoric lies a volatile reality. The war in Ukraine continues to cast a long shadow over European security. Western military aid to Kyiv, including advanced and long-range weapon systems, has been described by Moscow as a dangerous escalation that risks widening the conflict beyond Ukraine's borders. Lavrov and other Russian officials argue that such deliveries increase the likelihood of direct confrontation between Russia and NATO states. The Kremlin has also accused the European Union of attempting to undermine US-brokered peace efforts and prolong the fighting for strategic reasons. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has made it clear that Russia will maintain a responsible nuclear approach as last US-Russia pact expires.
From now on, everything depends on how events unfold. In any case, the Russian Federation will retain its responsible, thorough approach to stability when it comes to nuclear weapons. And of course, it will be guided primarily by its national interests.
For Europe, rearmament is framed as deterrence. For Russia, it is framed as provocation. The language on both sides has hardened, and military planning timelines are now being openly discussed. Germany's 2029 preparedness goal underscores how seriously European capitals are treating the possibility of a broader confrontation. Still, Lavrov's message seeks to draw a red line. Russia will not strike first, but any attack on the Russian Federation will trigger a comprehensive response.
Huge, explosive, unthinkable, until now. After nearly 4 years of bloodshed, fire, and shattered cities, the Russia-Ukraine war may finally have an end date. This summer, June. According to the Associated Press, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky revealed this new deadline to set up an agreement to end the war. The deadline was set by none other than the U.S. President Donald Trump. He is the same Trump who had claimed to end the war within 24 hours of election. During his presidential campaign, Trump had boasted about his ability and friendship with Russian President Vladimir Putin. But now, he has been in the Oval Office for more than a year, and the Russia-Ukraine war is only intensifying as Putin forces continue to hammer the war-torn nation. But what if both Russia and Ukraine do not agree to end the war? Zelensky has the answer. Zelensky told reporters that the U.S. administration will likely put more pressure on both sides to meet it. Earlier, Reuters, citing 3 sources familiar with the matter, reported that the U.S. and Ukrainian negotiators have discussed an ambitious March goal for Russia and Ukraine to agree on a peace deal. Under the framework being discussed by U.S. negotiating team led by Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner and Ukrainian negotiators, that any deal would be submitted to a referendum by Ukrainian voters. The source said that U.S. negotiators have said Trump is likely to focus more on domestic affairs as the November congressional midterms approach, meaning top U.S. officials will have less time and political capital to spend on sealing a peace accord. Meanwhile, the second round of U.S. brokered talks concluded on Thursday in Abu Dhabi. It produced no breakthrough other than the release of 314 prisoners of war and a commitment to resume discussions soon. Zelensky said the U.S. proposed holding the next round of trilateral talks next week in their country, likely in Miami. He confirmed Kyiv's presence.
For tomorrow, I have scheduled a meeting with our delegation. Our guys are returning to Ukraine. Late tonight, tomorrow, there will be reports on those sensitive aspects of the Abu Dhabi negotiations that cannot be discussed over the phone. We are getting ready for the next round of trilateral meetings. And tomorrow, we will also be holding discussions with our European partners. Currently, our parliamentary diplomacy is active in America, led by the Speaker of Parliament, Ruslan Stefanchuk. We had a detailed discussion with him before the trip about what was most needed. This specifically concerns the support for our state, for our people. The Air Force of the Armed Forces, there will be personnel changes there currently in some regions within units concerning defense against Russian Shaheds. The small air defense component, specifically for countering attack drones, must operate much more effectively and prevent the problems we are currently facing. In some areas, our defense lines are better established, but in other directions, we still need to work, and work significantly harder.